Hello, hello, hello. This is Yash once again, streaming live from 100x School. I have a wonderful friend with me today, whom I just met at the hassle that happened at the day three. And that's what happened. That's the best part about
Correct.
the lack of infrastructure India has. Right. Over to you, brother. Let's take a minute, and we'd love to know your story. Thank you so much for joining.
Hey, hi, Yash. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm Fazal. I'm the founder of HevaAI. This is actually my third startup. I started off my journey in edtech. First company I built was College Shala. Did pretty well. We had 32,000 people who loved the product. Because of the love of customer, we got quickly acquired by a bigger edtech company called
Yeah.
Lecture Notes. Then in Lecture Notes, we did pretty amazing stuff. We were very much focused on the entire undergrad layer, except for medical science and law. Apart from that, BA, BCom, BTech, whatever you call it, under UGC was covered by us. And we got to like 30 lakh users, did two rounds of funding, and then essentially got acquired by a Canadian private equity. After that, for about 3 to 6 months, I gave to my family, did research work 14 months on neuro because that was very close to my heart. Tried to turn that into a company, but didn't work because of it's a very, very red tape industry. And so, 4.5 months ago, I just started this applied AI lab called HevaAI. It's a what really important is the name itself. It's an economic term. So the full form is human economic value added, HEVA. And what it really means is the amount of value that human has added to its themselves as a species in this on this planet. So that's what HevaAI is. We are an applied AI lab, and we just built a dev tool called Goozy and made it live on all the IDs. So whether VS Code, Cursor, and I think till now in 45 days, 10, 12,000 developers are enjoying it.
Oh
So
wow.
far that's the story, but we are still working on a lot to do.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think AI Summit really had a lot to offer. Of course, there was the apparent lack of infra and what could have been done better. But I think this was really a great moment for India as well because OpenAI came. I really
Yeah, yeah,
missed
yeah.
Grok. I would have loved if there was a stall by Sir Elon Musk. But yeah, I mean, from all the startups that you personally saw, was there anyone that you personally liked and what struck for you?
So what really struck to me, I think number one, that was really surprising was seeing L&T's presence because when you or I say L&T, we only think about bridges and pillars and
And
stuff like
Metro.
that. Yeah, yeah, and metros. But it was really, really striking about how they had so much in tech and how they had already clients and they were making revenue and they had CTO and in the entire structure. So that was completely, it blew me. Second thing that I really saw, which was a common theme across the summit, was the word sovereign. Like everybody was doing everything. It's almost the same, but the unique feature was, oh, we are sovereign. So your data remains on Indian soil and it will be physically here. I think good value add, very, very good value add, because for the past 20 years we have been exporting data without even knowing it, or maybe most of the time knowing it.
Yeah.
So it's very important that we close that gate now. We should keep data. If we have plans to create any kind of LLM, open source or small or large or whatever, we need data for that, right? So we don't need to buy data from tomorrow at 10x the price. Otherwise, it's very much like how we used to do trade before independence.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's pretty cool that newer companies like Neve Cloud and few other
Yeah, yeah,
companies
yeah,
are
yeah.
also building. And also, I'm sure you must have seen that Indian company NASA bagged a 1.2 fucking billion round, right? That's so crazy. And what do you have thoughts about that? I think
So my thoughts on Neve because I really love that company. I saw that Agnikul wala cap. I think
yeah,
you
yeah,
saw that
yeah,
right?
yeah. I made a
Agnikul
video with
capsule.
them
Yeah, yeah,
too.
yeah.
We'll
So,
be linking
so
that.
anyone who has gone to the summit might be able to relate to this,
Yeah.
and it's so awesome. We don't talk about it. We don't market it. The first company to put data center in space is a company called Star Cloud.
Yeah,
They went abroad the about the SpaceX.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
and second company is Neve.
yeah.
So it's not even China or Russia or Europe or anyone else. So and there's not a huge time difference. I think the time difference between the first and the second is a few months. It's not even 1 year, by the way. So an Indian company on an Indian rocket has put data center in space. Like what could be what?
Done better.
Yeah,
Props
yeah,
to
yes.
Neve Cloud.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to those guys. We are very proud of them. So I was really excited to see that.
No, absolutely. I
And
think
their tagline is, "Do get your inference from space." Like
What a legendary tagline for real. I mean, kudos to the marketing guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, but I think it's really proud for us Indians as well that OpenAI and other companies are heavily investing in India, and they are of course you know invited well. There were a lot of delegates too, right? So my personal observation was that people are excited to build. Of course, when we talked about this, there were a lot of unnecessary audience. We can call it that were not very much inclined in AI, but they were interested, right? So I have this opinion. Maybe right now they are not interested, but someday they could be a user, right? Like for example, Google also, right? Now, for example, when you just search, it automatically uses the
Gives you
Gemini, right?
yeah, it
So
gives you the
everyone, if you say that they are not a user of AI, that term is automatically wrong because
correct.
now we are forcing AI into everything, right?
Correct, correct, correct. So I think Google is already far ahead because like you mentioned, the moment you search, you get an AI overview, and that's happening through Gemini.
Yeah.
So even when you do a Google search, you're also contributing to Gemini search.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so and then if you click on some kind of a blue link which is very very relatable to you, that's a different thing. But otherwise, most of the time, like even right now before the podcast, I was just searching one term how to pronounce it,
Yeah, yeah,
and I think the Google overview is enough.
yeah.
So I think
Yeah, that's
yeah,
perfect. Perfect. I think Google, has always tries that they have a market setup already. Audience is already there. They are
yeah,
building silently. Everybody thought Google is not in the AI race, right? They are,
18 months they've completely changed their
yeah,
behavior.
they are
They've got the
idiots.
other guys now on red alert.
Yeah,
So very
OpenAI is
interesting.
now scared, right?
Correct, correct.
I think if we talk a little bit about OpenAI, of course, being one of the biggest companies, not one of the biggest companies, I think they recently acquired OpenClaw as well. I'm sure you must have seen that.
Yes,
Agentic.
yes, yes, yes.
What are your
They
thoughts about
acquired
that?
they. So I'll tell you. Thoughts are for
I mean, are you bullish on agentic ecosystem,
yeah,
or do
yeah.
you think they are just,
It's
it's marketed a little bit crazy because, of course, agents and all these terms.
so it started as CloudBot, then MoltBot, then
Yeah.
OpenClaw, right?
All
I
kind of
think
crazy
it's a
stuff.
distribution play again
Yeah.
because see what happened now. OpenAI launched something called Codex, and for a lack of better word, Codex is not doing good. So, for example, when Codex was launched, Codex was completely free. So I asked my team, "Ki- don't use Cloud Code or Cursor. Use Codex. It's free." They used it thoroughly for a week, and then we all had to come back to Cursor and Cloud Code. Actually, I mean, it's not good at all. So now what this does is this gives them access and also a portfolio of an open source because their name is open. They don't have a very famous open source project. So now OpenClaw, which is an open source project with the most number of GitHub stars on
Yeah.
the GitHub platform, is now a part of their portfolio. Plus, they get to get a guy that is loved by everyone, and everybody loved him because he's solo, right? People love anti-authority. Not a company of 800 people, but just one person doing it all.
Yeah.
And so they acquired that guy also. So by that, they also indirectly acquired the love of those customers.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of a brand play, story play, distribution play, getting an open source portfolio, also getting all the logs of the usage that is happening, although the product is open source, but there's a lot of gold mine there also.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very, very multi-layered cake type of a deal, and I'm absolutely sure it's $1 billion plus deal.
It's $1 billion plus deal.
This is my take.
I was assuming
This is not
100
a
million
public.
plus.
This is not a public
I was
thing.
assuming
I'm
100 million
assuming
plus.
this is an assumption. I'm putting out there as a disclaimer. This is my personal assumption. It's $1 billion plus. It's not less than that.
Oh damn!
Yeah.
Kudos to the
I
founder.
can, yeah.
Dude, he made it. But
Yeah.
yeah, and, I saw in the comments people were, of course, keyboard warriors are already had there. They were saying that, they helped contributed to the project.
That is also true. So that is.
But the fun part, the fun part comes here. The founder shared the screenshot of the commits. And he had like this big of a graph, and everybody was like, here, right?
Yeah, so that's the job of a
And he
founder,
did like
right?
close to 1,000+ commits in a day, bro.
Yeah. So he said also how he was able to do that. He was running like 6 to 10 different kind of instances of Cloud Code.
Yeah.
So a little bit. That founder is someone who has exited a $100 million startup
Yeah,
3 years
already.
ago. So he
In PDF something, right?
yeah, something. So he has got a lot of
A
cash
lot of
that
money already.
both
Yeah,
of
he
us can
said,
imagine.
it was very crazy.
And he
said,
was very honest about it. It's not like he even told on the pod, and we know the history. So he sold $100 million startup. He had the money and he did all that. But again, he did it. That's the
No, yeah, I
point.
think it's very crazy. He said on a podcast that he's losing 10 to
20,
20,000.
and he's happy to lose more.
Yeah.
Like that's what it takes. I think India lacks that. India lacks the fact that, okay, I'm going to go out there, build something, I'm going to lose 20, 30, 40, $50,000 a month with no hope of, I don't know when I'll monetize. But I think that kind of initiative, that kind of taking a take on a pure technology play, we lack that. Absolutely, we lack that.
But I think that also makes them lack the exposure to be acquired by such a huge
Yeah,
company.
but that thing needs to happen in the first place, now, to give you an opportunity to have that kind of
Of
a
course, of
project to
course.
get applied
Makes
in
sense, makes sense. I
to
think,
get acquired in the first
yeah,
place.
I think even government or other people cannot even, support all these kind of things. And I think it's pretty cool that, this actually showed that, not only the model makers are at the top, right? You can actually build something on the model, on the foundational model, and actually not just earn money, it actually creates so much of hype. I mean, they were so crazy hype, right? That agents are making their own Pornhub. It was so crazy. People were saying that they're making their own Twitter, they're making their own religion. But I think it'd be crazy to have your opinion on this. That a lot of people, my normie friends, were like, "Hey, we have AGI. Oh, crazy! They are making their own religion." But I think you would be best to comment that how it was not actually AGI but clever prompting. I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
So it was clever prompting to give you the answer in very short, like 2 words. But diving deep on that, agents are now going to become a very normal thing. Okay, just like we are humans, right? So, or you have a habit of looking at an interface. So agents are going to be there. We will now see a whole host of new kind of companies that will solve for payments, but for agents. So let's say I'm Fazal. I want to buy a t-shirt between a range of 500 rupees to 800 rupees. It should be gray in color and I want it in full sleeve. I just say that the agent will, like in a very chat like or in any kind of UI, the agent will present me with some option. I say, I like that, buy that for me.
Yeah.
That's it. The agent will go add to my cart, do the transaction and everything. So now the payment companies, whether it's Visa, Mastercard, Razorpay, they now also have to be build a protocol where agent to agent interaction can happen,
Yeah.
and
So
this is
you get
something
to.
that Google has already started working on. So they have an A2A protocol.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we will now see more of that happening. So what felt like AGI was not AGI, but an agent to agent protocol that was
Yeah.
happening.
Makes
And
sense.
personally at HevaAI, we also have this thesis that AI is going to be the most important thing that humanity has ever seen. And we really want to use this technology in order to push the Kardashev scale. So, what Kardashev scale is, it's a scale that measures the progress of a civilization. And right now, according to that scale, we are at 0.73. Our purpose in our startup is to push that scale up and up
Wow,
and
that's
up.
crazy.
Now,
That's
of
hell of a
course,
mission.
yeah, like it's that manifesto or this mission is already out there. We have made it public. People can hold us accountable.
Yeah.
People can, shame us if we don't achieve that, and I'm happy about that. But that's our mission. That is what personally we believe in. Like I want to push that scale. We started off with something. People sometimes laugh कि ठीक है B2B SaaS है, but that's not the point. One of the most inspirational story I want to share, if
Please.
the audience can, in 2015-16, AlphaGo was launched.
Yeah.
Okay, and then after that there was something called a protein folding, AlphaFold.
I
Okay,
saw that.
now let me tell you the value that AlphaFold has done to this civilization. A PhD student has to spend 5 years,
Yeah.
and then he decodes one protein.
Yeah, that
That
too
is
difficult.
5 years.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
too
very
with crazy
difficult. So
difficulty. X-ray diffraction you have to do.
so
Right.
one PhD, 5 years, one protein. From 1950 to 2022, 2023, we have done to 150,000 to 200,000 of protein unfolding. Okay,
Yeah.
in 2 months,
Not.
DeepMind has done 200 million protein foldings
Yeah, that's fun.
in 2 months.
Yeah.
Now let me translate that what it means. 5 years into 200 million, that is 1 billion years. That is they have saved.
Wow, that's crazy. I never thought like that.
Exactly. 1 billion years
They have moved us.
worth of time of
Wow,
humanity has
wow,
been
wow.
saved, and they have pushed us just in
That
that
far.
2 months.
Wow, that's
And
crazy.
for that also they had to work for 2 years, but they have saved now 1 billion years.
That's crazy.
Okay, now I'm not saying that now that 1 billion years can be used to solve something else. Now those PhD students who used to go and unfold something that now an AI is doing, they'll do something else.
Yeah.
So that is where our thesis is. We want to save as many hours, days, weeks, month, year as possible, so that most time can be used to do other thing. That is how you push a civilization forward.
Absolutely. I think the only intention with your company and even my podcast is just that to accelerate humanity. And I think we should keep on continuing doing that. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
kudos to
absolutely.
that, and we'll definitely catch you on another episode very very soon.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you so much,
Thank
brother,
you,
for
thank you.
joining.